But you know, the connection. All wars are the same, basically. You know, like Lyndon Johnson said, you know, war is being asked to kill a man that you don't know well enough to hate. You know, it really comes down to that, and that's going to impact your psyche or your soul for the rest of your life. And now we know it impacts your family as well. For instance, you know, I got that picture of my friend Carl. He's a Vietnam vet, combat vet, Army. In 2002, he committed suicide, and he's just one of 22 vets that commit suicide every day in America. 22 vets every single day commit suicide. And about 1 to 2 active duty people commit suicide every day. So it's a terrible problem. Anyway, what happened to him was after 9/11 and we invaded Afghanistan, he was already in a PTSD group at East LA, and he started to withdraw. And I remember the last thing he told me before I found out he was dead, he told me, I cannot stand seeing another generation lost to war. He said, I can't take it. I don't think I can take it. I said, Carl, it's going to be okay. And what I was hiring him to come and work on my house. He was going to do some remodel stuff for me in my kitchen. And then I didn't hear from him for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I called up a mutual friend, another Vietnam vet named Juan, and I said, Juan, have you, or he prefers to be called John. I said, John, have you heard from Carl? And he said, no, I haven't. And I said, well, I'm kind of worried about him. He was kind of depressed. And he said, well, yeah, he hasn't been in the weekly group either. I better go over and check on him. So he went over to his house and found out that he had committed suicide. He'd been there for almost 2 weeks, dead in his house. So that was pretty horrible. So anyway, from that experience, it just really woke me up to this idea of the problem with suicide. And I didn't know what to do with the story. It was so horrible. You know, what am I going to do? I mean, I tell my students, and I had him on videotape so, you know, students could watch what he had to say. But so I decided I was going to go in a different direction rather than a historical direction. I went into the arts, and I said, that's the only way I'm going to be able to tell this story. And I thought, well, I'm going to write a play about it. And then I thought, that's a great idea. I even had an image in my head of how the play would start and everything. Only problem was I'd never written a play before. So I'd written books, articles, you know, as a historian, but I'd never written a play. So I had to quickly learn how to do that, which is a steep learning curve. Took classes, you know, talked to our drama professors here, and so we came out with a play called The Bronze Star, and it's all about Carl's life. And it's much more complicated than that. When he came back from Vietnam, not only was he rejected for being a vet, you know, rejected as a baby killer or whatever, but he's rejected by his family too, because he discovered while he was in Vietnam that he was gay too. So when he came back, he was rejected by society for being a vet, for being gay, because this is 1969 when he came back. And also by his family. His own mother rejected him. She told him when she found out that he was gay, she said, it would have been better for me and your father had you died in Vietnam than to come back and find out our son is gay. So she was totally rejected by his mother. So that didn't help his PTSD, obviously. And so that's the whole purpose of the play, is to show what happened to these guys when they came back, how 9/11 continues to impact people, and the suicide rate, and also gays in the military. It kind of deals with all those issues, which is now the DOD, Department of Defense, has changed their stance completely, so now gays and lesbians can serve openly. But it's a much different world now than it was in 1969.